One is considered a staple of 90s humor and acts arguably as a launching pad for Adam Sandler into leading theatrical features. The other is obnoxiously aware of that fact. Happy Gilmore, They Remade It.
And welcome back to another episode of They Remade It. I'm your host, Stuart.
And I'm your host, Jacob.
Hope y'all are continuing to stay cool out there. The heat wave is at least not as bad as it had been over the weekend of the 4th, but it is still not exactly good out there, is it?
If anything, it's more humid than it has been recently, at least where I am, because of all of the heat coupled with the constant rain that we've gotten. So it was... I usually say that because I'm inside most of the time, especially for my job, but I sort of measure it by how disgusting is it when I'm mowing the lawn on the weekend. And last weekend it was super hot. Today it was just disgusting.
Gross.
Yeah.
My condolences.
And I try to do it early. I get out there around 8 o'clock, but even that, doesn't really help.
I have the benefit here that it rains pretty sporadically, and so when it gets really humid, it goes away all at once. And then my lawn, as a result, also, when if it doesn't rain for a while, the lawn doesn't grow much, but the moment it does rain, it grows instantly. So it's kind of, I don't get to have a schedule with the mowing.
Yeah, it's
just whenever the South decides to cough up another, storm.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate fact.
Got to stay in and watch quite a few things this time around, actually. I'll let you go first on this occasion, since I think I went first last time, but I actually did a fair bit this time around.
That's good. You can sort of cover for me then, because
Sure.
I only did one relatively new thing that I figured I would mention. I saw Minions and Monsters, the newest of the Minion folk, their film, at the theater.
I'm always concerned for your well-being when you bring up stuff like this.
I'm not a huge fan of the series or these characters. It doesn't do much for me, but twofold in that I'm a huge horror fan and animation fan, so I tend to seek out... You can, even in something like this, you can see different animators' talents on display, and I'm always looking forward to see what folks are doing within the medium, so even if it's something that I don't really care for, I'm still going to plan on seeing it. So it actually helped with this one in a similar vein to The Sheep Detectives, where I heard from people about Minions and Monsters, this is actually a good movie. That's what I heard. So I was like, really?
Right.
And people are like, yeah, because it like has like a story. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know that qualifies a good movie, just a movie. But okay, I'll give it to you. It has a story. So I went and I saw it, and it is very interesting and self-indulgent in the silent era of cinema in a really unique way that I would not expect for a kid's feature this day and age. And that kept me pretty engaged for the first 45 minutes or so. And then the movie starts, and it sort of it goes downhill from there, because they if you've seen the trailers, which if you're in the theaters constantly, honestly, like I am, then you see trailers for everything.
Honestly, I have not seen a single trailer for this one.
So there's this one minion that is obsessed with storytelling, and now they're in Hollywood and they learn about movies. The entire first part of this feature, is that a director, they accidentally feature in this guy's film, and the producers like them, so he hires them to just be studio players, and America gets Minion fever. But I don't know, there's like Harold Lloyd stuff and Chaplin and I don't know. It's really cool in a way. Bogart, all this stuff that it sort of integrates with the Minions and how they interact. But there's this one that's interested in storytelling. So when the bubble finally bursts, because talkies get invented and Minions sound like shit, so no one likes them anymore. But this one, he's like, I'm not going to be an actor. I'm going to make a movie. And then that's where the movie kind of goes downhill for me, because it's like, oh, I want to make a monster movie. How better to make a monster movie than with real monsters? So there's like a spell book, and they're summoning Cthulhu creatures that are chasing him around, and there's UFOs. I'm like, good God. What?
This feels very at odds with the beginning of the synopsis.
Yeah, well, but I mean, the second half of the movie is the movie. That's why it's called Minions and Monsters. That's the point of the movie. So the first part,
It's the fact that half the movie wasn't that.
I know, and half the movie was also decent. So I don't know. It's frustrating. It's not funny. These things are never funny. It's just really bizarre. And there's like a wraparound piece teaching where this woman is in a museum teaching kids about these two minions. One's a screenwriter, the other's the director, because they're like important to cinema. And there's like a bunch of shit in the museum. There's like an Orson Welles statue and an E.T. figure, and like there's like all this stuff scene from Casablanca. And I'm like, this is really kind of freaky that a movie like this in this day and age sort of commits to this kind of thing. And then obviously, you get into the silent cinema stuff and they keep going on that train. There's also this really weird gag where she's walking them through this tour guide in the wraparounds is walking the tour group through a bunch of wax statues of filmmakers and stars. And they pass one of George Lucas and it starts talking and it's actually George Lucas. And then you watch the credits and it's George Lucas is voicing himself. I'm like, why is this the movie that he decided to be in? Okay. He's
bored.
I guess so. It's very strange. It's odd. I think people are wrong. I don't know that I would call it good by any measure, but it is very fascinating for half of the runtime. And that's more than I can say for a lot of these types of features that, look, animation isn't specifically for kids, but like these movies are kids' movies. They are directed at children, and this is at least interesting. There's worse things than that you could be showing your kids, like the first Minions movie. But yeah, that's that's it for that.
Fair enough. Not what I would have expected from all that, but that gives me a weird amount of hope for these sorts of films and everything. The fact that they're willing to just like do kind of just like oddly poignant shit. Like they're willing to slip poignant, if not poignant, but at least like more interesting shit into the majority of a movie's runtime and just to slip under the auspices of, oh, it's just another one of these movies. That's kind of a weird Trojan horse method that I never really considered. But props to him for that at least. But for my part, like I said, I actually watched a fair chunk this time around, and it was solely because I went on a 4th of July trip with my mom, and she and I she's always been the person who got me into movies. And so because it was so friggin' hot where we were, we stayed inside and we binged a bunch of stuff. Notably, the first thing we watched was a TV series. I don't even know if you can call it a TV series. It was on Apple TV. But it's Widow's Bay. I'm sure you've probably heard around about it.
I have.
And it was pretty damn good. It straddles the line of, kind of PG-13 horror, pushing rated R horror, and also like black comedy. And it does a really surprisingly good job at it, because basically every episode has some take on some level of either horror trope or like, New England mythos or that sort of thing of like ghost sailors or like, sea hags and that sort of thing. There's a point where there's a slasher piece and everything. And there's, all this stuff about cursed books and all this stuff. And it goes one after the other. And it feels very, you would think on the surface it wouldn't work together, but there's a clear love of horror on display here that shows that they actually know what they're doing with it. They're not just being like, oh, we're being deconstructive of the medium and then basically just insulting it. It's like, no, they're taking the most interesting parts of this and applying it to a semi-comedic setting. And it actually works surprisingly well. It's just of this dude trying to run a town on this island, a la, what is it, Amity Island, the one in Jaws?
Yeah, Jaws. Yeah.
And it just so happens he's trying to turn this island into a tourist location, and it just also happens to be horribly cursed. And it's like actually high stakes, and like there's whole things of history going into it and all this crazy shit going on. And it toes the line really, really well, in my opinion. It's hilarious, first of all. And second of all, there are times when I was watching with my mom, I don't often get too tense, but there are a lot of moments in this I was like genuinely kind of freaked out. I was like, holy shit, what is happening? And all the while in a relatively goreless not goreless. There is some gore and some violence and stuff, but it's not near as much as you would have expected, especially nowadays in the days of like The Boys and everything like that. It's very restrained, and I think it plays its hand very well in that regard. It means all the moments that are violent actually have weight to them, so it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty top marks for me.
I'm not a big series person. I can never find the time, but it is something that I've wanted to engage with. Just from seeing its construction, it screams very much like a Twin Peaks meets X-Files sort of structure in how it carries itself. And so
Kinda, yeah.
just for
It's more straightforward, but yeah, there is a bit of a mystery element to it, but it leaves it just enough unexplained that they're clearly angling for a second season, and I hope they get it, because they fully deserve to.
I think that's where the X-Files thing comes in too, is it's there's an underlying story, but it feels very episodic in
Yes.
nature.
Extremely, yeah.
And so that part interests me. I just wish it was, I don't know, I wish it was somewhere more accessible. Apple has never been something for me.
Well, that sucks, because two of the things I'll be talking about this one, including this one, I have one other was also on Apple TV.
Well, that's fine.
But yeah, honestly, if you can't find it on Apple TV, if they ever stream it somewhere else or whatever, or there are other methods, I don't know. It's worth. I'd say it's worth your time, even just like as an appreciation of, horror as a media concept, and just like just at the fact that it's also just friggin' hilarious. So it's a pretty damn good one for me. I haven't liked watching a series for a while now, but that's the kind of thing I would watch again, which is rare for series for me. Second one I watched, won't linger long on this one, Toy Story 5.
Nice.
Pretty much the same opinions as you had it with. I will say I kind of get what you mean when you brought up last time around that they still don't really know what to do with Buzz Lightyear. I will say this time around, it almost feels like they're leaning into that as a gag, where it kind of just feels more along the lines of like, listen, we know we have the running bit of, Buzz doesn't realize he's a toy thing. Let's just bring it to the most ridiculous degree and just run with it as just essentially a Deus Ex Machina for later. I'm like, you know what? Sure. This is absurd, but I'll take it. At least even they realize how ridiculous this is, it seems like.
I was sort of leaning towards that edge when I was watching it. If only the only thing that kept me from going all the way with that is the fact that they still are, they want to have their cake and eat it too, because they were trying to do something with Buzz, one with the Jesse stuff, but then also with the reigniting of rivalry between him and Woody. And the movie is clearly in like a Buzz supremacy camp, because Woody's a fucking joke in this movie.
Yeah. I almost feel like they're maybe angling that a bit overtly, just so that we can be like, okay, if you don't see Woody in another movie later, that's fine, okay? We're moving on. It's mainly Jesse and Buzz's show now. Despite the fact that Tim Allen probably isn't a spring chicken either anymore. But yeah, otherwise pretty much the same opinions as you had. Its end message was a bit of a nothing burger of like, tech is bad, but it's also good, but it's also bad, but it's also good. And I wish they had a bit more of a stance on it, but it's Disney. I can't really expect a whole lot from him anymore. But overall, yeah, I think it had its poignant moments that actually felt like they meant something, like with Jesse's backstory and everything, and the characters I think are still played well. So yeah, I think it didn't get hit with as near as much character overload as 4 did, like you mentioned. There's definitely a lot more new characters, but they're not as obsessively brought in as previously. Plus a fair bit of like humor, like like a humor angle towards adults again, which was a little unexpected for me. I was like, oh wow, they're actually doing slightly above kids' heads jokes again. That's odd. Not complaining. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was like just more than I expected. But yeah, overall fine. Better than 4. Still not really on par with the other 3, but that's that's neither here nor there at this point.
For sure,
it's pretty much to be expected.
That's like a perfect trilogy. That's like a perfect trilogy that encapsulates the series, and now we're sort of going past that point. I mean, I agree with you. It sounds like you probably like the movie a little bit more than I did. I mean, we're both of the opinion that it's firmly in between the first 3 and 4. 4 is like really bad, right. But yeah, I think it really benefits from making itself a Jesse movie in a way that none of the others really have been. I mean, you get your Buzz and Woody pal around moments, but it really is a Jesse feature. And there is something special about that, even if I don't find all the places it goes to very interesting. So that's right. Something. And yeah, just Woody just gets the shit kicked out of him. And there's this really weird gag at the beginning when, well, not at the beginning, but in the first act where he comes in through the window because he seems to have been summoned, or he thinks he's been summoned, and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, Woody's back." And you see his bald spot because and it's like, "Oh, that's funny." You can sort of, that makes sense in the world of toys, I guess.
Yeah, it's like rubbed away
yeah.
paint.
But then also it shows him having like a gut, and that makes a bit
like a
less
paunch, yeah.
Is he filled with bugs? Like, that's a bit more concerning. I don't know what that's supposed to indicate, because he's a toy. I understand, like, oh, he's let himself go, but he's a toy. So
maybe it's just like that his fluff is just starting to kind of decay. I don't really know.
Yeah, that's I found that odd and upsetting, but yeah. Toy Story 5.
Overall, yeah, it just seemed like he was going to be kind of second fiddle regardless, which is like, you know what? Fine. That's fine. The third one, which was the fully most unexpected one of the bunch, Mom and I found another one just randomly on Apple TV. It's called Outcome. Have you heard of this one?
No.
I have not seen anything about this other than when we saw it. It's a Jonah Hill directed picture, and Jonah Hill is in it, who, by the way, is channeling more and more Adam Sandler look by the year, it feels like. It's got him as the director. The main role is Keanu Reeves, and the whole premise of it is it's meant to be this highly satirical, blatantly, like borderline parody level of critique of like modern cancel culture and, modern, publicity culture and that sort of thing. And the whole premise of it is this actor who had been, out of the spotlight for 5 years because he was secretly dealing with a heroin addiction, is coming back in the limelight, but is now being threatened with blackmail by supposedly someone in his past. So he is given the idea to start going around to all the people he feels he may have hurt in the past and just starts apologizing to all of them to try and get ahead of anything. It plays itself up, and it threatens to kind of go the way of like very The Boys, the Seth Rogen style thing of like, oh, everyone in Hollywood is just like a drug addicted pervert and all these things. Like Jonah Hill plays this skeevy lawyer for Keanu Reeves who talks about like having to go do like publicity fixes for other people. Like at one point he says like, yeah, I just got to call Tom Hanks, tackle his housekeeper. I got to go fix that. And there's another scene like to show you the level of subtlety we are not working with here is at one point they're like, hey, where's our lawyer who specializes in anti-Semitic, controversies? And someone replies with, actually, we figured out that turns out making anti-Semitic comments might actually boost your popularity. It then hard cuts to a full screen zoom in of a poster of Kanye's face. It does this for 50% of the runtime. The other 50% of the runtime are 100% played straight, honest conversations about past behavior and reconciliation and friendship going through drug addiction and all of the relationship and familial trauma. And it's played, like I said, it is played 100% straight. And there's some genuinely heartfelt conversations going on that are just such a shocking left turn that I can't help but adore it in a way. Like the first major conversation that this happens with is Keanu Reeves' character talking to his like childhood manager, who is played by fucking Martin Scorsese, by the way. And you expect it to go in of like, oh, you were my manager for when I was a kid. And the thing is going to be like something of like, oh, you basically pimped me out and did all these horrible things. But no, it goes into the fact of this now old man and talks about the fact of I helped all these kids become stars and not one of them ever even called me. I've basically just been helping them on their way and then I get left alone for the rest of my life. And it's actually like genuinely kind of painful to hear about, like these very honest conversations. And all the while, Jonah Hill clearly has an eye for just wanting to make things deliberately look vibrant and bright, because it feels like the whole movie is specifically trying to buck Hollywood trends of making things look dark and edgy, where everything is just this insanely beautiful, vibrant environment that's clearly turned up to 11 on its saturation and everything. And it works shockingly well, not least of which for the fact of there's a few scenes where they don't do that and they make it very muted and real, and it makes the scene hit even harder. I don't know. It was just such an unexpected treat for me. It just has so much heart going on about talking about just, the reality of living as a public figure and what it means to be fighting addiction in that sort of environment and what modern, obsession with people's image can do to people. And it's done with a surprisingly deft hand. It's not done in the kind of way of being like, oh, yeah, everyone wants to cancel anybody for any reason. It's like, no, there's genuinely kind of hurtful and bad things that this guy did that would have been reasonable to hear that people had an axe to grind about. But basically no one ever does. They just go like, hey, that just hurt and I wish you would have talked to me about it. it's just a surprisingly human take on a very heavily politicized movement at this point that it's hard for me not to kind of love it. I doubt it's for everyone. I don't know if it would be for you or not, but I personally loved it. It was just so strange and unexpected. And plus just seeing Keanu Reeves doing this, and like, I figured he had resigned himself to doing either hard comedies or like, doing whatever slick action thing he was, back up to now. But this one was actually, he actually went to a pretty profound place in this time around. I was like, huh, it's weird seeing him do whatever is the closest approximation of emoting for him. Because I will say, he's still not great at emoting. The movie's carried by all the supporting cast, but still, it's pretty good.
It's very interesting. Maybe I'll give this a well. I won't because it's on Apple TV. But at some point,
I'm sure you could probably still rent it somewhere. I'm sure it might be on Amazon.
At some point, I might be able to find this. But yeah, Stuart,
it's
fan
called
of Outcome. It's
Yep.
It's interesting. It seems like you are definitely in the minority. Everyone seems to hate this for some reason.
Really?
Critics and audiences.
Huh. You know what? I don't care anymore.
No, you don't have to care.
Point,
I'm just surprised based on what I heard.
I mean, it's just like, I don't really know. Like, I get it. I get why people are probably down on it. It's probably, it's not what you'd expect going into it, but I felt like it was willing to just kind of be real for a bit in a way that you don't really see that often anymore with film and TV. So I was like, yeah, I can kind of love it for what it is. I don't think it'll win any awards, but I just thought it was good.
No, I don't think it can win any awards. It screams secret movie to me.
Oh yeah, hard time.
I don't think this is going to get any press. So
yeah, no, yeah, it's wild that people are as down on it as apparently it is.
Yeah, that's wild. 27% critical, 31% audience.
I figured it wouldn't be like a super positively well received one, but I didn't think it would be that low.
I'm just surprised that critics and audiences are both in agreement on this. Again, it sounded fine to me. I'll have to give it a look and judge for myself, which is what I always say for these things.
It's definitely one of those ones of it's best to go into it with your own without preconceived notions, I guess. It's just kind of like, it's a movie that's out there and it doesn't seem like it's trying to do anything grand. It's just trying to be like, hey, let's make some jokes, but also let's have some real moments. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. Fine.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill is just ridiculous throughout it.
Jonah is something that we didn't really we took for granted when he was involved heavily in the Apatow and Rogan style comedies, is that Jonah Hill is a very funny person. He is a funny comedian.
Oh, yeah,
he's been in we were just talking about Scorsese. He's great in what's the name of that Leo movie? Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
He's great in that. He's great. He's funny in a ton of stuff.
You watching this, you expect it to kind of go a Wolf of Wall Street direction, but then it just hard turns at moments, and it keeps threatening to, and at times it sort of gets there, but it kind of earns it in a few cases, where it's like, oh, this isn't just some raucous wildlife. This is a person dealing with like trouble and damage. So like, yeah, this is a very reasonable reaction. So it's like, okay, fair enough.
Fair enough, Hill.
I personally liked it. I think people need to get out of their own asses about it.
Wow.
But that's the extent of it. I've been playing the odd game here and there, but nothing really worth talking about.
Oh, that perfectly fine by me. I mean, I'm in the same boat.
I suppose at this point, I'm mainly just delaying the inevitable with this one because, like, oh boy.
Oh, we always find something to talk about, and we definitely will today with Happy Gilmore. Alright, first things first, we're going to start off with the plot to 1996's Happy Gilmore, directed by Dennis Dugan. Happy Gilmore, played by Adam Sandler, is an aspiring ice hockey player, but despite a powerful slap shot learned from his late father, his short temper and lack of skating coordination limit his professional prospects. One day, Happy learns that his grandmother Anna, the late Frances Bay, who raised him after his father's death, owes the Internal Revenue Service $270,000 in back taxes. Also, get ready for me to say the late for a lot of these folks, mainly because it's a factor in the sequel, unfortunately. Anna has 90 days to pay off the debt or face foreclosure on her house. Happy sends her to a retirement home until he can figure out a way to pay off the debt. However, unbeknownst to Happy, the residents are mistreated and forced to work in a sweatshop. While challenging a pair of movers repossessing his late father's old golf clubs, he discovers that his unorthodox slapshot style swing can drive a ball 400 yards. He begins hustling golfers at a driving range where he meets Chubbs Peterson, a former pro golf star who lost a hand in an alligator attack, here played by the late Carl Weathers. Chubbs urges Happy to enter the Waterbury Open, the winner of which will earn an automatic spot on the PGA Tour, as well as a sizable cash reward. Desperate to reclaim his grandmother's house, Happy agrees and wins the Open. Learning that he needs to supply his own caddy on the tour, Happy hastily retires a homeless man named Otto, played by Alan Covert. Happy quickly becomes a fan favorite due to his unusually long drives and unorthodox antics. In one incident, Happy kills the one-eyed alligator that took Chubbs' hand. Despite this, Happy struggles with putting, and his on-course profane meltdowns and lack of golf etiquette soon draw the ire of tour officials. Due to improved television ratings with a broader spectrum of viewers, higher attendance, and new sponsorship offers, tour public relations head Virginia Vennett, played by Julie Bowen, intervenes on Happy's behalf, promising to help him with his anger. With her support, Happy improves his accuracy and behavior, and they become romantically involved. Wouldn't be an Adam Sandler movie without a half-baked romance thrown in. The tour's arrogant, presumed favorite Shooter McGavin, played by Christopher McDonald, views Happy as a threat, so he hires a heckler named Donald Floyd, played by the late Joe Flaherty, to taunt him at a Pro-Am event. Donald distracts Happy by repeatedly calling him a jackass, hindering his gameplay. A subsequent fistfight with his celebrity partner Bob Barker, who criticizes Happy's frequent misses, leads to a $25,000 fine and 1 month suspension. Virginia secures Happy a lucrative endorsement deal with Subway to make up for the lost revenue, giving him the money he needs to buy Grandma Anna's house back. During the auction, however, Shooter spitefully outbids Happy in an attempt to force him to quit the tour. Virginia encourages Happy not to quit, and he makes a deal with Shooter. If Happy wins the tour championship, Shooter will return the house, but if Shooter wins, he can keep it, and Happy will quit golf. Happy seeks out Chubbs, who helps him improve his putting by practicing at a miniature golf course, and gifts him a custom putter in the shape of a hockey stick. As thanks, Happy presents Chubbs with the alligator's head, startling him and causing him to fall out of a nearby window to his death. Happy is paired with Shooter for the tour championship. Shooter takes the lead early, but Happy's regular game puts him in front with 1 round to go. A crazed Donald attacks Happy with a Volkswagen Beetle, impairing his long drive ability and focus. Shooter takes the lead, but Happy, encouraged by Anna, rallies to tie him. On the final hole, Shooter's tee shot lands in the crowd. Despite having to play the ball off the foot of Happy's imposing ex-boss Mr. Larson, played by the late Richard Keel, he manages to save par with a long putt. A television tower damaged by Donald's car falls onto the green and blocks Happy's line to a winning putt. Shooter insists that Happy play the ball as it lies, and remembering what Chubbs taught him, Happy wins by using the tower as a Rube Goldberg machine to sink the putt. Enraged, Shooter tries to steal Happy's gold jacket and runs away, but he gets caught and beaten by a mob of fans led by Larson. Returning to his grandmother's house, Happy celebrates his victory with her, Virginia, and Otto. And now the plot to 2025's Happy Gilmore 2, directed by Kyle Newacek. After winning his first tour championship in 1996, Happy Gilmore, played by Adam Sandler once again, has a successful golf career, winning 5 more championships. He also has 5 children with his wife, Virginia, once again played by Julie Bowen, sort of, who is also the professional golf tour's public relations director. After accidentally killing Virginia in 2014 when one of his drives hit her in the head, Happy feels devastated and quits golf out of guilt. He soon becomes an alcoholic and loses everything after a repossession worker sues him for instigating a brawl when mistaking the worker for a car thief. 11 years later, Happy works at a supermarket and lives with his only daughter and youngest child, Vienna, played by Sonny Sandler, surprise, while his 4 sons, Gordy, Wayne, Bobby, and Terry, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Ethan Kutkotsky, Philip Schneider, and Connor Sherry respectively, have all moved out and are working to support their father and sister. Vienna wants to pursue dancing, and her dance teacher recommends enrolling in a 4-year ballet school in Paris, which costs $75,000 annually. Frank Manatee, played by Benny Safdie, CEO of Maxi Energy Drink and the upcoming golf league Maxi Golf, later approaches Happy and wants him to be the league's star. Happy refuses, but resumes playing golf with encouragement from the real-life John Daly, wanting to win enough money to put Vienna through ballet school. During his first round since Virginia's death, Happy drinks heavily and crashes his golf cart, which gets him fired from his job and in legal trouble. A jury agrees to remove all charges if he completes an alcohol treatment program and refrains from any physical altercations. This treatment program's leader turns out to be Hal L., the caretaker who forced Happy's grandmother into sweatshop labor, once again played by Ben Stiller. Vienna and John advise Happy to practice seriously and to join the next tour championship, which he does. 1 month later, Happy meets old companions, including Doug Thompson, played once again by Dennis Dugan, the director of the original feature, who is also the president of the tour, and who worries about Maxi Golf rising fast. After Happy suggests having a competition between the 2 leagues, Doug proposes a match with the 5 best players from each league competing against each other. Happy, with his help from his new caddy Oscar Mejias, played by Bad Bunny, plays well at the Tour Championship in the first three rounds, but collapses in the fourth round on Mother's Day, seeing visions of Virginia on the course before getting drunk, finishing sixth. The winner, Billy Jenkins, Haley Joel Osment, admits to being in maxi golf, having participated in the Tour Championship as a taunt, vacating his place on the team and enabling Happy to join. Having been in psychiatric care since losing to Happy at the '96 Tour Championship, Shooter McGavin, once again Christopher McDonald, is granted a release by Frank. He explains to Shooter that all players on maxi golf, including Billy, have their iliolumbar ligament severed, increasing their driving distance, and asks him to join as their captain. Disgusted with this and how Frank's extreme version of golf highly strays from the traditional game, Shooter turns him down and escapes. Having heard about Virginia's death, Shooter visits her grave and briefly fights Happy there before they call a truce. Happy later meets Slim Peterson, played by Lavelle Crawford, whose father Chubbs Peterson had mentored Happy in '96, and Slim joins Shooter in coaching Happy, Rory McElroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and Scotty Scheffler to face maxi golf. During the match, Scotty gets disqualified in the first round for punching his opponent. Although the course is heavily designed to advantage maxi golf, as all their golfers are long drivers, the traditional golfers manage to make it 2-2, with the help of Shooter, who replaces Brooks after he gets injured. Happy and Billy then face off in a tiebreaker. Happy has a chance to putt for victory, but Frank alters the green to make it impossible for him to putt. He then makes a deal with Happy. If Happy misses the putt, he must join maxi golf. Otherwise, Frank must discontinue maxi golf, buy Happy's house back, pay for Vienna's ballet school, give Happy his Rolls-Royce Spectre, and open a new Italian restaurant for Oscar, because why not? With help from the latter, Happy sinks the putt and wins. When Happy celebrates his 3-month sobriety, Hal is exposed as a con artist and gets arrested by the FBI. Maxi Energy Drink is discontinued after being revealed to cause significant oral health issues, leaving Frank in ruin and in hiding. Happy later accompanies his family at an airport as they fly off to Paris, promising to join them after completing the British Open. But he is forced to walk, having forgotten to charge the electric Rolls-Royce, as he waves to visions of various people from his past. That's Happy Gilmore 2, folks. Well, get all this in full circle. So, obviously, the big one, Adam Sandler was Happy Gilmore in both Happy Gilmore and Happy Gilmore 2. He was also Paul Crewe in 2005's The Longest Yard remake. It also occurs to me that on this show we have done 2 sports movies, or 2 sports episodes, and both of them involve Adam Sandler.
But I wonder what that says about him.
Technically, if you count The Hustler with billiards, we've done 3, but I know that sort of goes in and out of being considered a sport. Next, we have Alan Covert, who was Otto in Happy Gilmore. He was also the referee in Speak of the Devil, The Longest Yard. Next, we have Richard Keel, who was Mr. Larson in Happy Gilmore. He was Samson in the original version of The Longest Yard, not the remake with Adam Sandler, surprisingly. He was also a man in the gym in the '63 Jerry Lewis Nutty Professor. Frances Bay was Grandma Anna in the original Happy Gilmore. She was also the lady with the dog in 1984's The Karate Kid.
Fully don't even remember that character.
DJ Jackson was a mover, one of the movers, in Happy Gilmore. He was also the chief fireman in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. And the last one for the original Happy Gilmore, 1996, we have Jared Van Snellenberg, who was Happy's Waterbury caddy in that movie. He was also the skinhead tour guide in 2001's Rat Race.
That one, I do remember, somehow.
It's hard to forget all the Hitler's car stuff in Rat Race. Moving on to Happy Gilmore 2, we have Chris Berman, who played himself in both Happy Gilmore 2 and, 2005's The Longest Yard. Speaking once more of, we have Dan Patrick, who was Pat Daniels in Happy Gilmore 2. He was also Officer Jack Pugh in 2005's The Longest Yard. We have John Lovitz, who was the dapper man at the driving range in Happy Gilmore 2. He was also Mr. Marks in 2005's The Producer, and we were just talking about him. He was Randy Pear in 2001's Rat Race. The aforementioned Hitler's car.
Really? Do you think he hates that he has to be so involved with that?
It was probably funny when he did it. I don't know. Martin Herlihy was Fitzy in Happy Gilmore 2. He was also Tim Jansky in 2025's The Running Man.
Yeah, sure.
Post Malone was DJ Omar Gosh in Happy Gilmore 2. He also showed up as Carter in the 2024 Roadhouse remake.
You know, I have nothing against him as a person, but I feel like every time I see him, it's a bad sign.
Unfortunately, Rob Schneider shows up as the Tricycle Cowboy in Happy Gilmore 2. We also previously saw him as Punky in, again, The Longest Yard from 2005. He was also Fergie in 1995's Judge Dredd, the sidekick character.
I wish I could forget him in that movie.
I wish I could forget him.
Yeah, you know what? Fair. Could have stopped my sentence.
Steve Buscemi shows up briefly as bad neighbor Pat in Happy Gilmore 2, frequently fighting with John Daly. He was also Eddie in 96's Escape from L.A.
That one was fine. Can't complain about him.
And then finally, I could have easily removed this one because he's usually uncredited, but I have to run through, as usual, Michael Papajohn was in Happy Gilmore 2 as the FBI, one of the FBI agents near the end of the movie. We've also seen him previously as the carjacker in 2002's Spider-Man. He was Guard Papa John in 2005's The Longest Yard. He was Alfie in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man. He was in Fantastic Four 2015 as Tank Commander, and he was the InGen contractor in 2015's Jurassic World.
What is this guy?
Michael Papajohn? Who's Michael Papajohn?
Like what? Like, I mean, I know him, but like I feel like he was overcompensating for his ridiculous name.
Maybe he's trying to distance himself from that brand, especially after the fiasco a couple years back.
Ew.
Oh, but that is it for Full Circle, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic. Well, I'll take the ball for now to give you a break from that. Oh, so needfully complicated bullshit that is the plots of both of these movies, and somehow even more the second, which is a shockingly common trend, it feels like, with these sorts of movies. Hoo boy, this is going to be an interesting one this time around, folks, because, you know, I'm not a big fan of Adam Sandler. I'm also not a huge fan of 90s humor. Not a huge fan of sports movies in general. Not a huge fan of attempts at rehashing 90s humor in a modern audience. And, not a huge fan of Adam Sandler. I know I said that twice. It's worth repeating. It's, oh man, I gotta ask you, Jake, just briefly. I'm kind of in the same boat now as when we did Good Burger. Why did you pick this one? I know you're keeping the trend of things that came out last year, but why this?
So I actually, believe it or not, I was not aware of Happy Gilmore 2 for the longest time, even after it had already come out. The thing that put it on my radar is that I was told that I had heard that Gilbert Gottfried's son, Max Gottfried, was in the movie. And he is in the movie, very briefly. He is one of the 14-year-old sons of Adam Sandler as they are growing up. So that, you know, I thought it was a bit more than that, but that, well, whatever. It's not like he's a professional actor or anything. So that's what put it on my radar, which put it at the forefront of my mind when I was doing this exercise, and that is literally it. I am in the same boat. I mean, we discussed this in the 2005 episode already, on the episode on the 2005 The Longest Yard, so we don't have to rehash our Sandler opinions because we made them well known. I'm in the same boat in that I've never found him particularly funny. Even on SNL, he was never that funny. He was always carried by the much funnier Chris Farley. You know, all those Sandler skits, with the exception of the Hanukkah song, all those Sandler skits that you're laughing at, Chris Farley's in them. Maybe Opera Man. Maybe Opera Man.
The problem with that, though, is that with 2005 The Longest Yard, we only had to watch one film with him, and even then, you could still kind of tell that it wasn't really his film originally. It was still based off of the original. This, however, in both cases, not only do we have to watch him twice, it is explicitly a movie for him, and the second movie takes that to an even higher degree to middling effect, I'd say.
I mean, that is...
So it's hard to not be kind of inundated by Sandler.
No, that's fair. I'm not saying otherwise by any means. It's just the thing of, like, I think that we've made it well known how we feel about Sandler and his style of comedy specifically.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit more forgiving of his early stuff than you are. I don't find it particularly funny, but I think that he as a person is more tolerable. Once he starts getting into his real, like, like Little Nicky style shit, that's when he completely loses me. But at least in something like this and Billy Madison, I don't despise him. I'm just generally not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of in the same boat as that, but even then, it's just also the fact of it is just a very quintessentially 90s comedy, and I just can never seem to really get my feet under for those. And so with the addition of it also being Adam Sandler just tells me, like, there really isn't much in the way of redeeming factors for this. And the fact that the sequel exists at all almost feels like an insult to me, you know? I will give it credit for the sequel that at least starts off as many movies don't care to do, which is to say, you know what? Fuck it. Kill the love interest. Just like, you know what? Sure. Haven't seen that since the second Austin Powers movie.
It was just, it was bizarre because at least she was like an actual character and she wasn't dead, unlike half of the cast of the original Happy Gilmore, apparently.
Right? Jesus.
It's a literal graveyard before they get to the filmic graveyard. But
Yeah.
I felt that I don't bemoan it necessarily. I don't think that Julie Bowen would have done much for the sequel, especially the way it's structured. But it did feel very strange. Like maybe they didn't want to pay her because most of this is just friends of Sandler, with the exception of Christopher McDonald. This is mostly Adam Sandler's buddies.
Right. And that's a known thing at this point with his whole shtick. And again, I can't disrespect that. You know, if anything, I do actually genuinely respect that of like, you know what, if people are going to give you money so you can just fuck around with your friends, sure, do it. But I do think that just the killing off the love interest, it was purely for the mechanical need of there's got to be an inciting moment for the film. And it's nothing gets a guy going more than his life has been ruined, essentially. So.
And that he's the one that ruined it. He killed her.
Effectively, yeah. Yeah.
I'll
at least give it credit of like, you know what, sure, it's keeping to its comedic strengths in that regard, but you know, it doesn't really keep that momentum going as much. It feels like you're having to, the rest of the movie kind of feels like it's trying to not necessarily one up that, but like find memorable moments that aren't the main character killing the love interest.
The problem is that the movie is the movie's memorable moments are literally remember this from the first one. And I'm not saying that like that's a revolutionary idea for a sequel to do, especially sequels that come out now. We always bemoan the fact that it's like, oh, the new characters are repeating lines from the original movie, but in a new context. It's magical. This is the complete cynical approach to that, where all of the characters are back, or if they're not back, their son or daughter is back. And they underpin it by literally just showing clips from the first movie constantly.
Yeah.
This movie is like 30% new footage.
Yeah, it's wild. It's I know that's an exaggeration, but it's not that much of an exaggeration, you know?
Right. It's insane. And okay. Before we venture down this road, I don't have much praise for Happy Gilmore 96. I think I gave it like a 3 stars. I still think it's perfectly all right. I don't find it very funny, but as a movie, I think it's all right, and I think it has a ton of great performances in it. I like actively despise this Happy Gilmore 2, so I'm going to give like 3 points in its favor. Like 3 things that I like about the movie.
Okay. Let's see if that's 3 more than I have.
Probably. Even with the bad writing that they give him, I think that Christopher McDonald is the greatest person in the sequel. I think he's asked to do a lot. I think he's a great performer.
Yeah. You don't see him often enough, which sucks.
No, you really don't. And that's unfortunate. I actually laughed twice in the movie, and now here are the 2 scenes that I will say that I laughed at, which are my other 2 points in the movie's favor. I like the driving range scenes with John Lovitz playing this erudite whatever. That's mainly because I really like John Lovitz.
Fair. I don't really care for him either way, so.
Which is fine. I think he's a funny person. I liked him in The Critic. I like John Lovitz, even if apparently he's not a great person. And I will say the graveyard scene, it's really stupid because Adam Sandler and Christopher McDonald are basically fighting in this graveyard because they've both gone to see Julie Bowen's grave. And they're fighting each other, and you keep seeing graves for all the characters of the first movie that are dead. And it's like, whatever, I don't really care. But the scene ends with a grave for the old woman in the first one that got crushed by an AC unit. And she's like a ghost screaming from her grave. And I don't know, that made me laugh. I am not made of stone.
That one I was just kind of like, what the fuck?
I was like, that is truly bizarre. And the fact that the photo on her grave is just her being crushed by an AC unit, I couldn't help myself.
That one I'll give it. I'll give that one of like the moment of her being like that. The photo was on the grave. Beyond that, I was just kind of like, what? Okay.
Is she a specter haunting the moors? What is happening? I
Yeah.
understand.
Is this leading to the next VHS movie? What the fuck's going on?
Those are my three good for yous of Happy Gilmore 2.
Cool. My most positive aspect is that it ended. So let's start beating the shit out of it, shall we?
Yeah.
I could use a good, shooting fish in a barrel.
Go right ahead. I think a lot of the problems that we have are indicative of a lot of Sandler's stuff, and I really do. I think he's, for the most part, I think Sandler is a fine performer. I don't find him all that funny, which is why I think the movies where I find that he really shines are where he's unintentionally funny, because it's like a serious role. I have not seen Uncut Gems, but I have heard that it's good. And
Same.
I really like Punch Drunk Love, which he's the star of. That's a great movie. So I think he can do stuff, but when he is behind the camera or when he's holding the quill, writing the script, it's a Happy Madison production, is where he completely loses me. And that's like 90% of his career at this point.
Yeah. I'm truly baffled by what he interprets as comedy more often than not. Like, I can get kind of like doing callbacks and stuff. Like, I get that to a certain degree. It felt weird how often so much of the humor did depend on just deliberate callbacks. It, in a way that almost kind of feels like it was trying to wrap back around from, remember this thing from a very out of date film? Because when we see these like long overdue sequels before, there's a lot of that where it's like you're expecting the audience to remember details from a movie that is well out of date at this point, and it's usually to a pretty bad effect. The fact that it's done so much in this, though, almost made me feel like, are they trying to do that as itself a joke? Because if so, it's still not funny. It feels like you're doubling up on a not funny joke.
Well, it tries to do it cynically in a way. It's like the thesis of the movie is that callbacks are cynical, but it fully indulges in them in a way that is much more earnestly cynical in, I don't know, the 2025 Naked Gun.
Right. Like, that was at least like doing it because it's like, that's the point,
Exactly. Well, it feels like both of these, it's the point, but again, have your cake and eat it too, because Happy Gilmore 2 doesn't lampshade it as much as it thinks it's doing.
Yeah.
It's mostly just reveling in it because Adam Sandler has had a long career at this point, but Happy Gilmore is like the quintessential Sandler film.
Sad considering it's the first of them.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that and Billy Madison are the reason his company is named that, but I don't think that he's ever hit highs quite like Happy Gilmore being his first movie. It's been completely downhill, like the Little Nickies and the Big Daddies and the fucking the Cobbler, whatever that Netflix thing was called. Yeah, Pixels. All these things that he did.
God. Just remembering those makes me just be like, man, why was anyone letting this guy make a movie in any regard?
Ugh.
Which
is funny because we say that about Adam Sandler, but then I look at the other people that we could be having, and here's the fucking thing. Adam Sandler should fucking go to prison for one thing, and it is not his comedy. It is the fact that he is the sole reason that Rob Schneider has a career at all.
God damn it. Yeah, you're fully correct.
If there's anyone that I hate in the comedy space more than Sandler, just his style, it would have to be Schneider, who I don't think has a style. We did the Snow White episode not long ago where I said that Gal Gadot is the worst to ever do it. I think that Rob Schneider is the male equivalent and always has been. There's not a single thing that he's done that I am like, oh, I am proud to have watched that. Even on SNL, he was no good. Like, I don't get it. I don't get Schneider.
Anyone does. And I'm starting to think that maybe Rob Schneider maybe just has like blackmail material on Sandler or something, that like just enough that he's like, I could let him release it, but I'd rather he didn't. So yeah, I'll keep giving him a career.
Just, why? Like, I'm not a big, like, Kevin James fan or, like, David Spade. Neither of them were in this movie, but Rob Schneider was in the sequel. Why?
The only thing is because, like, this would be the only thing he'd be doing for, like, ever. What was the last thing he actually did? Truly.
I don't know. Well, he was the voice of the father figure on that conservative Bluey cartoon, Chipchilla.
Oh. Okay, cool. I'm glad
the Daily Wire thing.
Okay, cool. So I feel fully justified in my sentiment. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. But the weird thing is too, he's in this Happy Gilmore too. He's replacing the little person on the like little person cowboy in the fantasy, which I don't understand why. But also he goes, "You can do it," which is a catchphrase from The Waterboy, which is not even the same movie.
At this point, I think they just are wanting to be like, look, reference, and they just don't understand what the concept of a reference is. I'm starting to think, I don't know if anyone involved in this actually knows how movies really work in a fundamental way. Like they get the broad strokes, but otherwise it's just kind of like throwing things into a loose shape rather than any sort of planning, you know? I hate how much I can't be as angry about this as possible because for the simple fact of it's with Adam Sandler's whole shtick is that he's doing it so deliberately at this point that it's just like, okay, yeah, obviously this whole thing sucked. Obviously it was all this stuff and just him hanging out with his friends and whatnot. It's just what he does. And it's the fact that he is able to just drop good performances like Uncut Gems and whatnot, and then just go right back to doing it. That tells me like he fully knows what he's doing. He knows how movies work and shit. He's just like, he just doesn't care. And he's still going to make a bunch of money off of this. And I don't know how he's managed to find such a perfect niche of this. And it frustrates me because God, it means I have to watch this bullshit.
It's very frustrating. And the thing is too, he sucks people into his circle.
Yeah.
And once you're in the circle, you're never escaping. Eminem is in this movie, Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh yeah,
very briefly.
Jesus.
He's like the son of Joe Flaherty character,
Yeah.
the great Joe Flaherty, who died like 2 years ago. He is his son and is on screen for like 5 minutes. This is not the first film that Eminem has been in of Adam Sandler's because he got sucked into that orbit a while ago. Benny Safdie, who plays the villain in this movie, the Maxi Golf guy.
Yeah. From Bad Bunny.
Benny Safdie's a fucking director of the Safdie brothers. Go watch Daddy Longlegs. It's great. Fuck, he directed Uncut Gems. That's how he got mixed up with Adam Sandler. Now he's in this Adam Sandler trash.
I'm starting to think that like Adam Sandler must be such a genuinely cool party dude to be around that people just can't help but being like, yeah, I want to do a film with this guy. Because okay, I don't know anything about Adam Sandler as a person. Is there any sort of like outstanding controversy around him or something that's just like, oh, it's like, you know, like an Alec Baldwin kind of thing of like, we still talk to him and do shit with him, but he's done a lot of not great shit still.
Not outside of like questionable tastes in comedy and how comedy has changed over the years. Outside of that, not really. In fact, I'll drop a little thing right here in that when I was in high school, you know how you have the career days?
Yeah.
Where people come in and they'll talk to you. We had a career day in high school where we signed up to go see specific people speak, and then each hour we would go to a different classroom. And they did that like twice, I think. And one of the years they did it, one of the people I signed up to see was an extra from Hollywood. He was just an extra, a bit player. He showed up in a ton of different things. He showed us clips, like a film reel, where he's like, "That's me in the background." And one of the questions from the crowd was, who is the worst person and the best person that you have ever interacted with in Hollywood? And this is all alleged. He said the worst person that he ever interacted with was Eddie Murphy, who is just a complete asshole.
That isn't... That seems plausible, at least.
It's tracked with a ton of things that I've heard. Again, this is all alleged. This is from another guy, blah, blah, blah. He said the best person he ever interacted with was Adam Sandler. Because Adam Sandler would see you. He may not remember your name, but he would remember your face. He would say, "Hey, how's it going?" He would sit with you at lunch. And one day this extra and a guy that he knew were just playing basketball. And Adam Sandler approached him in the court and he's like, "Mind if I play with you?" And they played like an hour and a half game of basketball together. And apparently Sandler's just a chill guy. Just like a reasonably decent guy.
All right, fair. That's
just
like
not funny.
You know what? He's just not funny. You know what? And honestly, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this shit. But I can see that as like the reason why he's able to get away with so much of this stuff. Because I'm sure the people who hang out, because we've all had a friend like that who's just the most chill person in the world. Who, even if they're not genuinely that entertaining as a person, just being in their presence makes it fun. And that feels like the entire vibe of all of his major films. You know, of like, yeah, this guy isn't a master in any regards. He seems like he's just doing this because he can and it's fun for him. And it's clear he's not even anywhere close to an expert at it. But by sheer vibes alone, the whole thing just has this air of, yeah, we're having a good time doing this at least. And I can't really fault that much beyond like just on an objective level of, yeah, I watched this and I didn't have a good time with it. But I'm sure everyone who made it and all the people who are able to fall into that sort of vibe and crowd. Basically, I feel like if I were the kind of person who regularly went to sports bars and shit, I would love the hell out of this movie. You know, if I recognized any of the real life golfers in this, I'd be like, oh, this movie's great. But I'm not that. I'm a nerd who talks about old movies on a fucking podcast. So,
Podcast nerd is like the worst thing to be.
right.
But that's another thing too, is he gets so indulgent to the point where it's like, aren't you supposed to be making a movie? Like, I don't think there's any benefit for there to be like 50 real life golfers in Happy Gilmore 2. I don't think that there's a reason that Jack Nicholas needs to be in the movie. You know, like all of these people that some of which I tangentially know and others I have no idea. Like John Daly is just himself, but like a weird homeless person version of himself. I don't know what the logic is behind some of these decisions. I can see the thought process in that this is a joke. I just don't understand why it's a joke.
Again, it fully just tracks as like, it's just a bunch of like dudes who are still trying to live like they're in college, being like, hey dude, here's a funny shtick I could do in your movie film kind of thing. Like, what if I was just like a homeless dude for some reason? I'm so rich and cool that wouldn't that be such a weird subversion? And if you even use the word subversion, I'd be shocked. But it just is that feeling of like, yeah, it's clear that this is just like a frat bros idea of like comedy slash, you know, subvertive movie making. And it feels weird to be so irate about it because it's like, it feels ultimately harmless when you frame it like that, you know?
Until you think about like his Netflix deal and the fact that his company just makes like millions upon millions of dollars for doing the same thing over and over again. And his 90s
Disney
stuff is, well, yeah, but they're like a beast. This is like a guy running a
I'll take us just some dude over like a fucking conglomerate, you know? At least that just feels like he's doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of his stuff from the 90s, but like you watch Happy Gilmore, even if you're not laughing, which I do laugh at some scenes in Happy, like he's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I recognize Happy Gilmore as a comedy movie. There are some parts in the movie that I find funny. I think in Happy's second dream sequence where Christopher McDonald briefly makes out with Julie Bowen, but then in the next scene he makes out with the elderly Frances Bay. I think that's funny. I think that the absurdist nonsense of Carl Weathers appearing in the sky, but the alligator he killed and then also Abe Lincoln are there as well. I think that that's funny. You know, maybe I'm not like laughing out loud sitting on the couch, but it's like comedy. They're jokes.
Yeah, it's clear that that was the intent and it wasn't necessarily off the mark. It's such a strange experience trying to find. It feels like I'm falling into a trap by trying to be critical of this movie, you know? Where it's like, here I am on a show that we have been doing for years now, where we've been going through some pretty top kickers from best to worst, and trying to find active ground to actively criticize Happy Gilmore and Happy Gilmore 2. It's at least like with The Longest Yard, like, yeah, there was actual ground there to cover, you know? It was the ability of, like, the fact of doing from one era to another, of it being the same film and seeing how those compared and contrasted. Yeah, there's something there. This is just us trying to be like, hey, how do we make something out of Adam Sandler's entire career effectively? And it's like, yeah, I feel like we only have ourselves to blame for getting pissed off about it. It's like, what do we expect here?
I think that the interest of the conversation, or at least the intent behind the interest of the conversation, is just the fact that it's obviously on one end it's the cynicism of modern day remakes and sequels, which Happy Gilmore 2 is not an isolated incident of, and we've talked about numerous times on the show. So it's not like that's fertile ground necessarily, but it's interesting to cover the first thing that Adam Sandler did. Well, the first thing he led, obviously he did like Coneheads and whatever that Bobcat Goldthwait movie was before, but this is the Happy Gilmore is his first movie, and Happy Gilmore 2 is his latest movie. And just to see a man trying to reconcile with his past and understand why people liked him in the first place and not really understanding it. I mean, far be it from me to tell you why people did, because I don't understand it myself, but it's funny to see it from his perspective. And at a certain point he just has to throw up his hands and say, I don't know. So here are just scenes cut whole cloth from the first movie because I don't even get it. I think
Yeah.
that there's something like uniquely fascinating about that.
Yeah. It's weird that it almost suggests a level of self-awareness that isn't there that I kind of always assumed was, you know? That's a good way of putting
Mhm.
it. Of just how does he keep going through all this? How does he keep failing upwards, essentially, you know? It's it's such a fascinating concept. And the fact that even he starts, it seems like, like you said, is now starting to be aware of that fact. It almost feels like something is fundamentally wrong now. It feels like he's about to look behind the curtain, and I'm just like, I'm almost scared on his behalf, you know? Of just like,
This weird Truman show that is us watching him.
yeah, of just like all of us unintentionally creating a Truman show around this random dude we have decided is our clown of the day. It's, God, I didn't expect to feel existential bullshit when it came to watching these movies, but it feels like that has kind of come back around as to what we have to address, you know? Because, God damn it, how is this one of the major people of our time in this film industry? How is this where we are? Why do we have to talk about this yakko?
It's Happy Madison Productions is a self-sustaining machine. The people that are basically funding his projects are the people that have always watched his stuff and will always watch his stuff, but he has not hit it big with his own things since the 90s. His most recent successes in the past decade or two have been the Safdie brothers movie Uncut Gems, which is not his, and Hotel Transylvania, which is not his.
It's like, you
You
know
know,
what?
it's
I feel like that just kind of shows the fact of he is kind of missing the mark of what he should be doing, you know?
yeah, he doesn't fully comprehend. I don't know.
Also,
I
at the
don't know.
same time, he's making money, clearly. So he is succeeding at doing this. It's just the shit coming out of it is never going to stand the test of time, except in many cases it might, for the sheer weight of its own ridiculousness. People still talk about Jack and Jill. Like, what the fuck?
He can't make it out of his own. It's like a bucket of crabs with Happy Madison plastered on the side of it, and he is the sole crab trying to escape, and the others that are pulling him down are his audience. And
Yeah.
if you just keep it to that bucket, I mean, it's a self-sustaining machine that'll, like I said, it'll perpetually fund itself. But every once in a while, you can make it outside and do something what you might consider beyond yourself, but it's not going to be wholly yours because your audience will be isolated from it.
Yeah. Like, my God, like, I I want there to be a movie one day. I want there to be a biopic about Adam Sandler in the strangest way. For the simple fact that, I mean, how do you go through this kind of life? What is his internal monologue on a day-to-day basis? Is he haunted by this? Or is he truly fully indulgent in it? Is he truly just like, yeah, I know I make schlock, and I know it's not really anything to write home about, but people keep paying me money to do it, and I like just hanging out in my whatever lifestyle I've decided to build for myself. It's like, this guy, like, fuck everyone else who talked about the American dream. That's the American dream, you know? Like, I need something to be done regarding this man's life. Just some sort of catalog, just for someone to go out and say, hey, what is it all for, or where has it all taken you? And I need to see it portrayed on screen that isn't just his films, you know? I need there to be something deeper to justify all of this, because it can't be this easy.
I hope for his sake that maybe in a very similar vein to Adam West, it's something that haunted him at some point, but he has fully come to appreciate where he is, because even in spite of the more esoteric things that I've put out there, that we've put out there, he is still successful within a certain purview, and he gets to hang out with friends, and he has a loving family. He's still married. He has kids. One of it, the daughter in Happy Gilmore 2 was one of his real life kids, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope he is content at this point in his life, because he's in his like 50s or 60s or whatever, and I don't know. He's had a hell of a one.
Yeah. I mean, God knows, like, truly, the fact that he isn't like mired in some insane level of controversies, like either from addiction or whatever it is, and I'm sure he's probably dealt with something in the past, but the fact that it isn't his entire background at this point shocks me to my core. Like this is a level of placidity and calmness with life that you do not see out of a person with this kind of lifestyle, you know? It seems like just such a strange exception that defines the rule kind of thing. Like, there have been so many people who have had far less financial success who have gotten into far worse personal places than he has. And I don't know. I don't know. You watch the stuff in his films and like the comedy he kind of defends and that sort of thing. And you wonder how it is that he has been able to avoid all that. And I think it's just that he's just a good person, which is great, but also still shocking in an almost frustrating way. It's like,
yeah.
like, again, I respect him, but I can't respect him the way I need to because his movies still suck. This is a man who has built his entire life on his films, and they all almost universally suck. What the fuck, man?
Well, I think that we hit the nail on the head. I don't know that we can go any deeper than that.
No, I mean, like, I barely even talked about the first movie, but like, what's there to talk about?
I tried to sprinkle it in here and there, but yeah, like I even kind of knew going into this, I was hoping it would be a bit of a retrospective for the Sandman himself, especially after I saw the second movie, because in talking about the second movie, we talked a lot about the first movie.
Honestly, yeah, good point. That's a very good point. I barely even talked about the fact that Bad Bunny's in this, which is like, okay, what the hell?
It's another one of those things where it's like a Bad Bunny's like fine, but there's no reason for him to be in this. There's no reason for most of these people to be in this.
Really, this is just like everyone is hanging out after like some award, ceremony or like some award TV event, and it's like, oh, Adam Sandler's here. He's like, hey, do you want to be in my movie I'm making? Like, sure, why not? Like that truly gives me the air of what all of this is. It's like they were just hanging out. Probably had like a drink, or probably even fully sober. They're just like, hey, I'm doing a thing around this time if you're going to be in town. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? John Lovitz will show up for a bit. How about Steve Buscemi farting around? Because he got sucked into the orbit back in Grown Ups, so now he's in all the Sandman stuff.
Yeah. God, he's like
what about Eric Andre?
Yeah, he's like some weird Greek mythical being of like just general party. He seems like Dionysus, essentially, where it's just like good times just kind of appear around him, and he just is like, just doesn't even care about it. He's just like, all right, whatever. Like, let's go. Like,
let's do it.
All right, cool, man. Good for you. I can't be pissed off at you no matter how much your entire contradictory life wants me to be frustrated about, but I don't know. I don't want to imply I hate the man or anything. It's just like, God, I don't know what to think about him.
I know for a fact I don't. He sounds like a cool hang.
Yeah,
I just
sounds
the
great.
fact that,
It's just the fact that we are so dedicated to films and everything that it's so counter to everything that is just critical film thinking in everything he does. And yet, he's just doing fine, I feel like he deserves it. I don't feel like I should agree with that sentiment, but you know what? Sure. He's not a bad person. He makes schlock, but all right, whatever. It's not that big a deal, I guess.
Well, the funny thing is where we sit with final thoughts as far as the movies are concerned, with the movies being the subject, is that I don't think it matters whether I like the first Happy Gilmore or not, because the second one is so abhorrent that I have to put the first one above it no matter what I think. So,
yeah, and the second one seems so indulgent with the first one anyway, so it's basically just the same all it is.
Exactly. And when we say that, I know that I'm exaggerating a bit. It is mostly new footage. It's weird how much they rely on it. It's not like a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1 and Part 2 thing that you're going into. Even if I make it sound like it is. Right. It's just I don't know, between the clips and the everyone is a kid of someone and familiar plot beats too. It's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's just like good on him for continuing to do his thing. I wish him the best and also have zero desire to ever watch another one of his films.
I'm sure he'll come up again at some point, but nothing that comes to mind and nothing that I'm planning on in the near future. So
hopefully nothing this bad.
I hope not. This has got to be like the bottom of the barrel. Like there are movies I don't like Little Nicky I've mentioned, fucking the Disney one, Bedtime Stories, but nothing that is like this.
Yeah,
that I can think of.
Just
even Pixels.
It's not even a nothing burger. It's like a nothing punch to the face.
Yeah. This was bad.
I don't even have a question to pose for this one, you know? It's like, what the fuck could I possibly ask about this? I guess, like, if you ever had to meet Adam Sandler in a context, what context would you want it to be in, you know?
I want it to be at, like, a party or, like, a disco rave, and he's like, I'm waiting for him to play Gangnam Style, you know?
My God. You know what? Fair. I'm going to say the same answer. I was going to say something, like, kind of funny of, like, you know, if I just had to, like, if I was waiting for a really boring appointment, like, if I was at the DMV and he was just there and it was just someone I could chat to, I'm like, yeah, that'd be fine. But you know what? A rave would be good, too. That'd probably be the better option, honestly. Not least which for the fact of I can't imagine him actually getting into the rave scene. I just imagine him in a Hawaiian shirt, dad shorts, and flip-flops, and just kind of like vibing around, you know?
Yeah.
Inexplicably holding a beer that the rave does not offer.
he just brought it in. He didn't have to sneak it. They're just like, well, it's Adam Sandler.
It's Adam Sandler. What the fuck is he gonna do? Like I said, he just has the vibe of just good times form around him. I'm like, you know what? Good for you, man. It would be cool to chat with you. I mean, okay, truly. If he asked you if you wanted to be in a film of his, would you say yes?
Of course I would. It means I could go to fucking Hawaii or Nepal or something. Like,
yeah, like it'd be like, of course, like obviously, you know, like that's the whole thing of it. My God, the man's like a fucking succubus or some shit where he's just like, come to me, I bring cool, fun things for basically no effort. I'm like, okay.
He's gonna fly me out to Machu Picchu for his next movie, The Last Alpaca Herder, where he voices Sammy the alpaca. And I'll be there.
The live-action remake of fucking Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
Actually, no, it's even worse than that. It's a live-action that is clearly trying to ape it, but they couldn't get the rights to it.
Okay, for my question, it's fairly straightforward. It's the 1996 Tour Championship. It's the lead up to that, and it's a celebrity event. So who are you paired with for your golf? Who's your celebrity golf teammate in this championship?
I mean, I could say the easy option and go Space Jam style with Michael Jordan.
Oh, famous golfer Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they did it in Space Jam, so it's like that's at least that's a pre-made joke right there. Otherwise,
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know, Bill Clinton.
You'd want to be partnered with Bill Clinton.
I feel like that's worth the headlines.
You'd have to drive in a car with it.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton golfs with some guy.
Yeah, like, are you kidding? Listen, the dude's got issues, I know, but man, imagine the conversations. That's a kind of thing. That's like a once in a lifetime thing of like, dude, I got to hang out with Bill Clinton. He's a fucking freak.
It's like Ellen dancing with George H.W. Bush. It's like, Ellen, he killed people.
Yeah. He killed people and he did so much worse shit than even that. But it's like, God, like, I'm just some dude. Imagine the conversations I could pull out of him, you know?
Yeah. Fair.
God. Damn, like such a rat son of a bitch, but my God, it would be hilarious.
I mean, you could say the same thing about somebody like Kissinger. He'd probably
for sure. That one
die of sunstroke.
Listen, if I were paired up with Kissinger, I'd take every opportunity to try and get my golf ball to hit his head. Like, I want that dude dead by the end of the game.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But I also feel like he would have people in the trees to take you down if you tried anything.
I would try my best to make it look accidental.
Oh, I don't know. I'd go with someone like Richard Kind. Maybe I think he could like swipe me for some good snacks, and he'd just be fun to chill and talk to.
Yeah, I can see that. That'd be an easy one.
Just a good time party.
Yeah. Maybe John Waters.
John Waters would be fun.
That'd be a fun one. That would just be like, I don't even know if he golfs, but I don't golf either. And it'd truly be a situation of, I would love it if we were just so both comically bad at it that we don't even give a shit. We're just like, anyway, like, how did it go? How did it go with the filming of this film? And it just gives me some cool anecdote, you know?
Oh, can you just tell me everything that you know about Edith Massey?
Yeah, fair.
And how she lived her life.
In a similar vein would be David Lynch.
Yeah. All of the great austere directors.
Yeah.
We would want to golf with. Mm-hmm. The most mundane thing that you Me thinking about the most mundane thing that you and John Waters could be laughing about is just how bad you are at golf.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that would be the only thing. Just be like, yeah, fuck this.
Oh boy.
They asked me, some random jackass, if you wanted to take part in a celebrity golf tournament, and they paired me up with John Waters. That's gonna be the highlight of my entire life.
John Waters has also had a celebrity golf tournament.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, any of these people. It's like, oh, our celebrity golf tournament. Bill Clinton is here.
I mean, that's a celebrity fucking, like, depending on what point in the 90s, that's a pretty substantial celebrity moment.
Oh, you know what? Fair enough. I forgot I said 96.
Yeah, I was doing with this though with the framing of 1986.
Like, he's a Skellington. Bill Clinton's a Skellington. I don't think he could get out there.
Yeah, no, I mean modern. I mean 1996 Bill Clinton.
Yeah. No, no, my bad. I'm the one that said that. Oh. Yeah. Fun times. How about socials then?
Please, before I start coming up with more random people from the 90s to hang out with.
Like Arsenio Hall or
O.J. Simpson.
Sally Jessica Raphael and me on the golf course. Okay, so go ahead and follow us on any of our or your favorite podcasting platforms. We're on the likes of Apple Podcast, Spreaker, Podbay, Podmatic, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, YouTube, but we are hosted by Spotify for podcasters. Go ahead and send us emails, theyremadeit@gmail.com, for what you thought about this week's episode, what you might think about past episodes, whether you like us or hate us, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, or if you even just like to say hi, that's always nice. Or go ahead and follow us, theyremadeit.bluesky.social, for updates when new episodes of the podcast are going live, things that we might cover in the future someday, posters, promo arts, and things for what we've been engaging with, reading, playing, watching, etc. in the weeks between podcast episodes, and full circle videos that I like to put together for folks that we've talked about on the podcast more than once. And that is it for socials.
Roseanne Barr would also be a good option.
Ooh, she's crazy, they say.
that'd be one. What's that?
Is she still running that nut farm?
Man, you don't know. She is a nut farm.
I mean, that's why that show was called Roseanne's Nuts.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The only other one I could really think of was Sinead O'Connor, but that was like in 92 that she had that whole controversy, so that might be past the date.
She wasn't famous until she ripped up that picture.
Yeah. You know what? Fair. I guess. I guess 4
years after. How get on SNL?
Oh man. Oh wait, no. Pope John Paul II. That's two.
Oh, the premier golf partner.
Yeah. In the vein of Sinead O'Connor, the literal exact opposite partner to Pope John Paul II.
I don't mind.
Tears up a picture of Sinead O'Connor on the green.
I would go golfing with Chicago Pope.
Yeah.
Chicago Pope seems chill.
Help us, please. Anyway, as always, I am your host, Stuart.
And I'm your host, Jacob.
Were you about to say Stuart, too?
No, I don't know what I was doing.
I'm your host, Pope John Paul II. I'm back, baby. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. Please forget everything you've heard tonight.
Now you're gonna get it, Bobby!
The price is wrong, bitch.